Thank you. And it's wonderful to be here with the three of you today, but also all of you in the room here today. If I may just take a moment just to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on where we are meeting today. I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Yugambeh language on whose land we're meeting today, and all their countrymen and women. I'd especially like to acknowledge our elders past, present and future, and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who may be here with us today. At Accor, we believe that when we have an opportunity and the privilege of operating hotels in this great land, that we are following in very inspirational First Nations footsteps, as they have welcomed each other onto country for thousands of years. And we have the opportunity to do in our hotels and in our businesses and experiences that we all operate. So fantastic to be here with all of you today. And it's really important for us at Accor to be here because of the density and the importance, not just of Queensland, but particularly of Gold Coast, and certainly in terms of the recovery that we've all been experiencing. Okay, so we have a very topical panel today. I'm sure wherever you go and wherever I go, the number one topic is generally about skills shortages, the challenges we're having, training and so on. And at the end of the day, this is a people business and it's all about people. So again, we've got three great panellists here. Again, we have Julie, who is co-owner of Red Cat Adventures, and I understand you and your husband operate throughout the Whitsundays, and not only do you operate your business there, but you're also chair of the board of Tourism Whitsundays, so a really unique perspective from an association, but also a business owner, so thank you. We've got Amanda Hinton here, who you heard is a senior guide at Savannah Guides, and you're going to hear a lot about that particular association, but she does have a day job, which is the Business Development Manager of Tourism Tribe, and is very passionate, obviously, about guiding and what that can bring to the community and our visitors. And certainly, we also have Jayme Cuttriss, who's CEO of the National Trust Queensland. Understand we may have crossed paths in our early career in hospitality, and now as CEO, you operate, I believe, 15 incredible locations right across Queensland, which are iconic, and you'll bring a unique perspective from that. So thank you all for being here. So if I may begin by just asking you to give us perhaps a 2-minute synopsis of your business, and then what's top of mind for you. So perhaps we'll start with you, Julie.
Hello everyone, I'm the owner, co-owner with my husband of Red Cat Adventures in the beautiful Airlie Beach. We also have another business called Wildcat Mackay, and that's obviously in Mackay. We have always thought of ourselves as a family-operated business. However, after getting over 50 staff recently, it's starting to feel not so family-orientated. So we have 5 vessels. We take around about 180 people a day out to the islands, and we offer, transformational experiences. We have a fantastic team. One of the biggest issues at the moment is obviously the skill shortage. And I guess that's probably one of the reasons why I'm sitting here and have been invited on. We have to have skilled tour guides. We have to have skilled skippers. We also need to have a full reservation team that, are very computer literate. And it is beginning and has been actually for a while been progressively harder to get skilled staff.
Yep. Fantastic. Thank you, Julie. And I know we're going to hear more about that because many of the people in the room also will be specialist organisations, may not be in exactly the same business as you, but you can give them some great insights. So Amanda, tell us a little bit about Savannah Guides and what's top of mind for you.
So Savannah Guides is a membership-based association. So we're based in Queensland, Northern Territory and WA, but most of our businesses are in Queensland. So we support guides, so they're the ones who deliver our exceptional experiences in Queensland. We provide guide schools and we provide training to organisations that are members as well. Most of our businesses are regional and remote, and a lot of them had a staff shortage has always been an issue before the C word, and then many had to lay off a lot of their staff throughout COVID. And it's drawing them back to the industry. It's seasonal work, so it's really been a challenge to get people into regional areas, which is the lifeblood of Queensland, you know, getting them out and distributing that economy dollar. But we need the guides, and we need quality people to deliver quality experiences across Queensland and every state to be able to bring people out there. And it's really a struggle for many operators in our association at the moment.
Fantastic. And I'm sure many people in the room, also seasonal workers, regional Queensland is very much in need of people, so we'll be keen to hear about that and what you're doing. Jayme, quite a different business from the other two as well, or organisation. Tell us a little bit about that and what's top of mind for you.
Yeah, well, skills resourcing issues are a big challenge for everyone, but we have a little bit of a unique advantage, I guess. We're a not-for-profit organisation. We have 15 properties from Currumbin in the far south here on the Gold Coast to way up in the far north in Cooktown. So we have 15 properties all the way up the coast, all with very different purposes, but all very committed to either heritage tourism or environmental causes. Down here on the Gold Coast, we're very proud to have Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. And Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary is where our headquarters are for National Trust. So we have about 1,000 team members there, but we're a very diverse workforce. We have about a third of our team are employees and the rest are volunteers and trainees. So I'd love to share a bit of that later on. But the challenge is real for all of us in the room. I don't think there is one person that's having a coffee at the break time saying, how do you find staff or how do you find people? And we're really focused on the people element. That's what we're all about, because we know if we can service all of our tourism businesses throughout Queensland, we can do more of the conservation work that we do. And that's really important to us through our wildlife hospital and our conservation reserves.
Yep. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And what we want to focus on today with all of you is we all know the challenge that we have, so we're not going to reiterate the skills shortage and talk about the numbers so much, but what we do want to talk about is what are some of the solutions, what are some of the things that we're seeing. So Jayme, I'm going to start with you because you just mentioned something around traineeships and so on, but training does play a critical role in solving this problem. So what are some of the different programs that you're introducing that are making a difference?
Yeah, we're off the back of a winner from the Training Awards, and we're really proud of that in Queensland because that goes across all industries, and we take a lot of pride in the work that we do in educating and opportunities for pathways into employment. And it's really hard for some businesses to dissect that and find out how to get involved, but I'm happy to share some tips today. We're very big on school-based trainees. I know you might have an unconscious bias around work experience kids. We all say that sometimes. These kids coming through schools, 15 to 17, they're brilliant minds. They're technologically savvy. They're pretty confident normally, and they can multitask. So we work with the local schools to have some brilliant programs. They're actual traineeships. So instead of work experience, they actually come into the business a day a week, and we treat them like employees. They get paid for their services, but there are some really good subsidies against these programs, and it's absolutely worthwhile partnering with your local high schools to come up with different programs, because you can have one school-based trainee in your program, or like us, we have about 30 at the moment, and we're looking to increase that right through all of our properties in Queensland. So it's a really good opportunity. It's easier than you think. It's about connecting with the right high schools that have the programs. They'll connect you with the RTOs as well and really bring it to life in your business, because these kids are brilliant. They need the experience, and you also sometimes can convert them into employees,
Absolutely.
into juniors. So they're fabulous.
Well, that's a great tip for everyone here. I think it's certainly one that at Accor we've been looking at as well. And I happen to have 2 teenage girls who would fit that category of work experience. So I completely hear you on that. Amanda, it's really interesting when you think about the specialist skills that are required for guiding. And tell us, what are you doing to solve that problem?
So guiding it's a bit of a hard one, because it's nothing, very rarely do people grow up and say, I want to be a tour guide. So, you know, it's a fun job, but it's not what people automatically think of. There's also very little and limited accredited guide training available. So there's not those automatic pathways. As an association, we deliver field schools and we deliver a lot of training resources, and that's we're actually delivering one in Winton at the moment, where we've got guides, and where that brings people to the industry. They're a great way to get people who are interested to learn more, and also people who have recruited someone. We're actually seeing a lot of people coming to the industry who are mature workers. So they've reached a point in their life where they're highly professional, very well educated, but they're just wanting a lifestyle change. They're not wanting to retire, but then they're really just wanting something that's a bit of a more work-life balance, that gives them some happiness, less stress, and we're really seeing a change in people coming to the industry to become guides who are like that. And because they're so highly trained and they have been working in a industry and career professionals for many years, we're finding we're able to provide internal training through Savannah Guides to turn them into guides and to turn them into fantastic guides really quite quickly through our resources that we've got. So that's something we're seeing a shift. As an industry, we can offer a lifestyle that is very appealing to a lot of people, and I think we probably should be promoting that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
We're a fun industry to be a part of.
Absolutely. I think, tourism, travel, anything associated with that is an absolutely fun industry. And I think, as we all know, people are looking for purpose after the last couple of years and what's meaningful and change of life, and it sounds like they can get a great experience with you, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that, and the other big factor is it's a lot of seasonal work. So some people who maybe are ready for semi-retirement, they quite often do a peak season.
All right, I'll chat to you after this.
They can do a good peak season and then still have, a few months of the year off as well. So great lifestyle.
Excellent. And that's it, finding what is going to be unique in your business, that's your USP when it comes to solving that skills challenge. That's fantastic. Julie, not everyone here is going to operate the same business you do, but all of us here will have roles that are particularly challenging to fill. So we know you've got skippers, you need coxswain tickets, from what I've now found out. Tell me about the importance of partnership and and the challenging roles in particular. How do you solve that?
Obviously anyone that has a boat business in this room probably understands that skilled skippers are short and far between. And when you're talking about finding a solution to this, and I'm going to give all the credit to my husband, he'll be very happy, we actually went out and tried to look for alternatives and other options, and the vocational educational training in schools program was already happening within the schools. It was subsidised by the government. Unfortunately, the last 3 points of the coxswain's accreditation was impractical. So you had a lot of these young children coming out of school, or young students coming out of school, and even though they had done 3/4 of their coxswain's course, they weren't actually coming out with an accredited ticket. So that's where we came in. So we went to the school. My husband went to a lot of, I don't know how many schools in Mackay and in Airlie Beach and all over the Whitsundays. And we now have 60 students that have signed up for this course next year. So that means 60 students are going to come straight out of school. They're going to be ready for work. It doesn't just help our business, it helps the white boats, it'll help other operators, it'll help the cruise ships. And even though we may not trust an 18-year-old to go 25 knots out in the Whitsunday straight away, at least they're going to come out of school and they're going to have the practical component of that course. I don't see why this isn't something that isn't rolled out more across the regions, especially in those areas that are, high marine. We also got heavily involved in the Certificate for 3 guarantee. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but it really helped with longevity of our staff and job satisfaction. And it wasn't just for our staff that were on all of our boats, it was actually for the staff in the office. So we managed to get 4 of our staff onto these courses, and it was courses that they chose themselves. And they have to do the course, but they stay with us for a whole year. So for us, when we have got, a bit of a more high turnover of staff, it is difficult with the mines and different industries that are paying so much money and offering full-time employment. So we knew that we had to offer something more to our staff. So that was those 2 programs. Honestly, just do some research into the state government. There's so much going on there. I mean, there's just 2 just to start with.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What I love about the story when we spoke about it is that you and your husband identified that gap in terms of the practical and then actually went about solving it. And that's what we need. We need ingenuity, we need that entrepreneurial thinking, no matter what the size of your business is, and it's a great initiative. Plus also exactly to what your point there's some great opportunities and ways that you can collaborate with partners and government, and we've just got to make sure we tap into that. One of the things that I also get the feeling we might have a lot of people hanging out around high schools, so just be mindful of that. But there's certainly a market to tap into there through the right channels, absolutely. Tell me a little bit, Jayme, the volunteer piece in terms of the volunteer opportunity. How challenging is that?
Not as challenging as you probably think. I came from hotels, so I'd never worked with volunteers before, but we have 2/3 of our workforce is actually volunteer labour. So 650 volunteers work with National Trust across a whole lot of different ranges, from wildlife volunteers to education volunteers, and we couldn't do it without them. You know, they provide such brilliant skills and guest experience as well. So to your point about tour guiding, it's very valuable for our business too to have people that really want to be there. We pay them not in dollars but in experiences and the social aspect. So that's really, really important when you go down the path of volunteer programs, is that it has to be rewarding for them as well. But you work within a framework. You know, a volunteer has to comply with all of our induction and all of our learnings and everything the same way as the staff do. But it's a great opportunity to bring really passionate people into the business. And again, it's another pathway sometimes back into employment. We also have student volunteers, a whole lot of different volunteers that work right across our business. So it's definitely worthwhile seeking out partners that can help you, to connect you. And to the point of connecting with government, to Julie's point, there is so much material that you can find online. We work very closely with the government from DESBIT, and that's Department of Employment, Small Business and Training. And there's so many great wage subsidies that you can link into reskilling programs. You know, so much material out there. You've just got to know where to find it and where to look, and they're more than happy to help you and point you in the right direction.
Great, that's wonderful, and a terrific tip for everyone. Amanda, you mentioned earlier very specialised skills when it comes to guiding, but interestingly, I understand there's not mandatory training. So do you have to develop all of that in-house? How does it work? Do you work with other providers? Tell us about that.
So yeah, no mandatory requirement to become a tour guide. And every experience is so different. So from Julie's experience of gliding out on the reef to rainforest, you know, we have so many unique locations and experiences in Queensland, and each one requires a specialty skill set. So that's where that unaccredited training, like you're mentioning online, and Savannah Guides has been able to come in a lot of those areas and refine processes internally for businesses, where we've been able to essentially give them the right skills that are needed to become an excellent guide, but give them the content and how to deliver it in their particular environment. So we've created online learning materials as well. So there's a lot of different ways that the association is working with industry to provide those skills to people. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to have accreditation. It's not what we're pushing for. We just need to know that those people out there who are delivering these experiences know what they're talking about, and they're delivering really good quality experiences.
Absolutely, and it is about the not just experiences as we've been hearing about today, but really good quality experiences. So, and through this process, I've learned a huge amount, and you know, guiding and the detailed knowledge you'd need to know in each of the different areas you're guiding in is quite significant. So it's a huge volume of information people are required to retain and know. So that's fantastic. Julie, we're talking about quality experiences. Customer is critically important. Tell us, how does this challenge we've got around people and skills and training, tell us about customer experience and what we can do to really keep elevating that.
Well, we're a very proud Savannah Guide enterprise, so we're, you know, very proud to have our own Savannah Guides, and we really invest in the field schools and allow any of our crew members, if they want to upskill as a tour guide, they're welcome to go on these field schools, as long as we have enough staff for them to go, obviously, which is half the problem. But the domestic market it's changed so much. We were 86% international, and we're very spoilt as Australians. I think that we have such natural wonders of the world. You know, the Queensland has the rainforest, we have the outback, we have the Great Barrier Reef. But a lot of people have seen that in their own areas, beautiful beaches. And just being a tour guide these days it's not enough. It's just not enough to give that transformational experience that people are expecting. We really are looking at our guides as eco-guides. You know, they have to be accredited to a certain standard before we can really let them go out on their own on the boats, and that's difficult with a higher turnover of staff than normal. So what we do within our business, we obviously have our own training internal pathway. We also really heavily rely on other programs such as the Savannah Guides. Master Reef Guides is another incredible program. You know, we wish there was more of them every year. We also look at offering the reef discovery courses by Grumper, Eye on the Reef, making sure that they do water quality monitoring so that they know what they're talking about. The experience that expectation of the customer is to have these experiences. If we don't deliver them, then we're not actually representing the brand of Queensland correctly. So it's just really important that you use external programs and external companies to help you train your staff. I mean, it's a big drain on HR resources if you try and do it yourself, and it's next to impossible. So, you know, all you can do is give the courses to your tour guides, and if they take them, excellent. You know, that's what we should be doing for the brand of Queensland.
Great. And I think that's right. Providing the opportunities is what you're doing. And I think it's an interesting perspective you're sharing too around the idea that you're not only representing your organisation, but, you know, it is the brand of Queensland, it is brand Australia as well that we're all part of here together.
I'm sorry, just on that, I think a really good point to that is the Transformational Experience Program. I don't know if anybody's done that in the room, but they talk about looking at your brand yourself, and then they talk about looking at your brand as a region, and then look at your brand as Queensland and try and align it, because then the expectation of the customer, you're going to be able to deliver that on the day.
Great, a great piece of advice. I'm going to ask this next question of all three of you. We've experienced this in our own business as well at Accor, in terms of that the candidates' expectations has changed and the new world that we're sort of in. And we launched a program called Work Your Way at Accor, which was all about sort of meeting people where they're at and so on. But I'm really interested to hear from each of you in terms of what the expectations that you're seeing from the candidates, and how does that play into the solutions you're offering? I'm going to start with you on this one, actually, Amanda. So,
expectation. I mean, people have reevaluated life. We don't want to do. I mean, how many people want to work from home now, if that's an option? So, if working from home is more appealing, if you don't have a home base, I mean, how about working in some of these best places that we're selling Queensland to everyone in the world. Why don't you go work in some of those amazing locations? I mean, don't just visit there, don't just holiday there, work there. And I think that's a big point, that we probably undersell ourselves as an amazing location to work in, not just to visit. We do the great campaigns on the come visit us, but I think we need to be telling ourselves that it's also come live here, come move to the regions, come see it as an amazing career, great work-life balance. Just, it offers so much more than people realise until they get in the industry. We've also seen, that return. Some people have maybe left the industry and then gone into more corporate sectors or mining, and then they've realised that life's actually pretty good in the tourism industry, and we need to encourage them to come back and remind them about how great we are as an industry to work for. I mean, we offer so many businesses can offer flexible working hours for working mums, and there's so many different demographics that the industry can accommodate.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was visiting one of our hotels this morning, walked in, the front office manager said to me, I used to work here and I'm back here after 2 years, I was doing something else and I really missed it. And it's wonderful that we're starting to see that happen right across the industry. Jayme, what about you in terms of the expectations of candidates, and the challenges?
I think we were always quite spoiled at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. It's a beautiful place to work and we'd get hundreds of resumes. That's not the case anymore, and you really need to just get over that, I think. There's a lot of us that are probably quite traditional, and we expect everyone to come into work and want to love being with the team. The reality is that people want a break from that as well, and I think unlike in southern states where they were locked down for such a long period of time, we still had some form of normality up here. And I think it needs to be that hybrid model that we've heard about today, where if someone's working on projects, let them work from home. Let them start later if there's something on that they need to do. So I think it's that very basic, just show your employees and your team members a bit of empathy. Work with them. We've been doing a lot of work on this recently about really get to know your employees again and what motivates them and what's important to them. A little tiny bit of flexibility might go a long way. It also keeps them engaged as well, because in most of our businesses, we're open 7 days a week. We've got long opening hours. We can really accommodate a lot of people in our workforce, whether it is return to work parents, whether it's students that can only work nights, whatever it might be. We need to be a lot more flexible, and that's something that we want to do even more so at National Trust. I think there's a really big opportunity to really embrace it rather than being frustrated by it, and rather than being disappointed that candidates don't want to come and work at our wonderful work environment. We just need to accept that the hybrid working model is here to stay. I think we thought it would go back to normal, and it hasn't. And I think the sooner we acknowledge that and come up with more individual work plans for people, the better off we'll be. It's hard across big teams like yourself, Sarah, but we need to be very flexible with programs, I guess.
And I think people often think about it as just work from home, and that's not what we're talking about, is it? And people often say to me, Sarah, it's fine for your teams to sit in the offices, but what about in the hotels? The truth is that we can offer, bespoke, flexible options for them as well, which is exactly what you're talking about, Jayme.
Yeah, exactly right, and give them the tools. We've swapped everyone over to laptops now, give them with webcams. It's just easy to do business online as well, and that might go a huge way to some of our employees, to actually let them just work from home and have some peace and quiet to get some work done, and you'll probably find they're more productive anyway.
Absolutely. Julie, what about yourself in terms of candidates' expectations? What have you noticed, and the solutions?
For us, obviously, job security is huge at the moment. We actually did a bit of a study after COVID with our staff, and this is something that I really think everybody should do in their business. It can be really confronting, but just tap into it. Even if you just do a survey, or you get someone external in a business mentor or somebody, and come and ask your staff, how are they feeling? How is their job satisfaction going? And there was a big elephant in our business which we weren't aware of, that our staff were worried about, are they going to be able to pay their rent next week? Their job security had been, it had gone after the last 2 years. So we had to really work and rebuild that within our business, especially for those long-term staff that have been with us. And for me and Ash, we didn't even think of that. But slowly we've actually changed that culture really well. So I just really encourage people to reach out and make your staff feel a little bit loved. And they've been through a hard time, as an earner, they've been through just as hard a time as you. And it's really good to open up and be, and be there for them.
Yeah, really important perspective around job security and making sure that we continue to have that message, and with the rebound that's happening as well, is critically important. I know you're all passionate about brand Queenslanders. We all are in the room. I'm going to ask a question of each of you as well, and just a short answer on this. What do we need to do to maintain Queensland sort of at the top of mind, and that it's a place that everyone wants to your point, Amanda, not just visit but come and work in? Julie, I'll start with you this time.
So, are we talking about workforce?
Either, you can, both.
I think in order to obviously make sure that all of the staff and all of the workforce know the brand, they've got to have the training. They've got to understand what the brand of Queensland looks like. They've got to obviously use the programs that we've talked about, and a lot of the time with some of the staff with branding, they don't understand what they're meant to be delivering. So we often will put senior staff in place with junior staff and make sure that They're never two staff that are actually working on our vessels at one time that are sort of junior and haven't had the training. And I think that's really important that we meet the expectations of the brand. So we've just got to make sure that our tour guides are trained in order to make sure we deliver on their expectations.
And what I'm hearing from you is matching that experience with those who are coming along. Amanda, from your perspective, in terms of brand Queensland and making sure that we maintain that as very prominent?
I think just delivering exceptional customer service in every component of our business. So it's not just the guide, it's the check-in, it's the cleaner. Having every touch point that your guest experiences your business run smoothly. And, you know, that can be, it's the human interaction, but it's also the, you know, we're talking about skill shortages, but there's actually some digital solutions out there as well. So if we can take some of the pressure off with some digital answers, people expect instant answers in some forms of technology. They're very, even more so demanding in that form now. So where we can automate some processes and take the stress away from the human component because we can't fill that, how about we consider those options as well? And that way we can, when we do have human touch, we can deliver as much quality service as possible there.
Absolutely. So I hear you. It's like looking at that whole customer journey. Where does technology play a part? And the human connection is something we can't lose in this industry. Jayme, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think particularly for us at Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, we've got a really wonderful brand, and it's something that you really need to bring to life through your people. And I think it's really important for us to invest in our people and give them training opportunities so that they feel valued, so that they're increasing their skills, but they can also want to stay in the industry. We can't afford to have people leaving our industry anymore. So we need to be really positive, and we need to show them that we will invest in them and that this is a career choice. You know, we are all here in this room because we love tourism and hospitality. And we really need to attract great people to our industry, because if they're passionate, that will shine through in the guest experience. Even if they don't have a lot of skills to start with, but they have an amazing attitude and they love people, that's a great start. And as I said, really do investigate options for you for funding, whether it be federal or state funding to subsidise training opportunities. You may find that it actually doesn't cost as much as you think to give people accredited training or non-accredited training, as you were saying, Amanda. It's equally important. But there's some wonderful programs out there, and again, just invest in your team, stay engaged. You know, treat them how you want to be treated as well, and give them the opportunities.
Absolutely. Simple life lessons to be passed on as to how we lead, you know, in this time. Interesting, you know, hearing from each of you, and, you know, your businesses, you know, connected but also a little different. And I think all of us here, you know, we've had great careers, as you just said, Jayme, and we've had opportunities along the way. And all along that journey, we often learn something unique, a kind of leadership lesson or a top tip that you give. So it's my last question for each of you. So could you give us your leadership lesson or top tip, something you could share with the audience? It doesn't necessarily have to be on this topic, but certainly might help us as leaders as we face the challenges that we have been. So Jayme, I'll kick off with you.
Sure. I think it's pretty critical to focus on the positive as well, and I think we've had to do that as an industry over the last 3 years. Otherwise we would have been in tears every day. We use that opportunity to be really positive about the future. We never stopped planning for the future. We never stopped envisioning those tourists coming back. And I think you have to lead in the way that you want all of your employees to actually respond as well. So we want them to be positive, because then they'll feel that there is job security. They'll feel happy in their jobs. I think that's the best thing you can do, and sometimes not crumble in front of the team. You need to be that real calm sense of it's going to be okay. We knew the visitors were coming back. We just had to get through some really tough times to get there, but staying really future focused. And even now we're talking about the Olympics. What a great opportunity to create a real buzz around our industry.
Absolutely. So it's that positivity, staying calm, the authenticity that's really important as a leader. Thank you. Amanda?
As someone who has grown up in the tourism industry, I mean, I started at a very young age and worked my way through the ranks. I have always been passionate about the fact that I think more people need to see the tourism industry as a long-term career. I talk to so many youth, and they maybe get into it while they're at university as as a stopgap while they're studying, but it's not perceived as this is where I can spend the rest of my life satisfied and fulfilled, and I can do so many different roles. And it's something, you know, through the Young Tourism Leaders program that I was personally went to schools and spoke about, but I think we just need to, you know, let people know that it's such a great industry, and it is a long-term industry that can be very rewarding.
Yeah, wonderful. And many of us here will, you know, it's such a social elevator of an industry as well in terms of the opportunities. Julie, last word for you in terms of leadership lessons.
Well, Jayme just said exactly what I was going to say, which is positivity breeds positivity. We are a very optimistic business. We never look back. We always look forward.
Don't you have a motto, something around that?
Yeah, don't look back, you're not going that way. It's actually from the Vikings, if anyone watches that. Yeah, and we really instilled that in our staff, and, you know, we've made mistakes. We've took on challenges that we should never have taken on, and, you know, we never look back. We never allow the staff to look back. We always look forward. And another thing that I feel that me and my husband are really good at is that we listen. We really listen to our staff. We are approachable, and our door is always open, and we don't just listen, we act as well. There's a lot of people that listen and don't act, and you know, it's really important for the staff to know that you're going to do something.
Thank you. I think that's almost the perfect answer to end on in terms of listening, acting, but also as an industry, let's not look back. If you could please join me in thanking this incredible panel, Jayme, Amanda, Julie.